Welcome to today's deep dive. Whether you are commuting, prepping for a meeting, or, just insanely curious, we are thrilled to have you with us today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
So today we are digging into some pretty recent demographic reports and global humanitarian data from 2025 and early 2026.
Right, very fresh numbers.
Exactly. And the mission of this deep dive is to explore the surprising statistical data showing this massive, decentralized surge in global Christianity.
Which is really defying those traditional expectations of Western secularization.
It really is. And we are impartially looking at this data to just try and understand the mechanics of this major cultural shift.
Okay, let's unpack this. Well, what's fascinating here is the sheer scale of the demographic data. I mean, when we look at the numbers from 2025, Christianity has surpassed 2.64 billion people worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's growing at an annual rate of 0.98%. Now, that might sound like a pretty subtle percentage, but
it's actually outpacing overall global population growth.
Exactly, and at the exact same time, the data shows global atheism is in a state of steady decline, falling by about 0.2% annually. We are seeing a shift that challenges that long-held assumption that modernization automatically equals secularization.
Right. And the geography of this shift is a huge piece of the puzzle. 2/3 of all Christians now live in the global south.
Yeah, that's a massive regional shift.
And we are seeing unbelievable stories of resilience and transformation in those areas. Take Nigeria, for example. There is this striking anecdote in our sources about a major mission base where 2/3 of the staff are reformed militants.
That is just wild.
You literally have former combatants who walked away from violence and are now running this mission. Former fighters running a trauma center. Does that kind of extreme turnaround show up in the data elsewhere?
It absolutely does, particularly in the Middle East, where resilience under extreme pressure is a defining feature right now.
Right.
In Syria, for instance, after a church in Damascus was targeted by a suicide vest attack during evening prayers, the survivors publicly chose a path of radical forgiveness over vengeance. Yeah, bereaved parents even went on record stating, "Our God is not a killer." And then you look at Iran, where there is a massive underground movement. You have stories like this 92-year-old Iranian woman who rides public transit and simply asks strangers to read her small font New Testament to her.
And people actually do it.
They do, and more often than not, those strangers end up taking the scriptures home.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because while this resilience in the global south is driving massive growth, there is an equally surprising countertrend happening in the West.
The youth movement.
Yes, Generation Z is driving what researchers are actively calling a quiet revival. We are seeing a trend where Gen Z, the most digitally connected generation, is paradoxically driving physical church attendance.
Right.
In the UK, which has been highly secularized for decades, church attendance among 18 to 24-year-olds has literally quadrupled since 2018, hitting 16%.
That is a huge jump.
And in the U.S., a single campus event at the University of Central Florida recently drew 5,000 students.
Which makes sense if you think about it. You can't get a sense of genuine community from scrolling a TikTok feed for 3 hours.
Yeah, definitely not.
And the data suggests younger people are starting to realize that. But while they are seeking out analog community, this global movement is still being rapidly accelerated by modern technology. Artificial intelligence tools like Scripture Forge are revolutionizing translation efforts by assisting with drafting and back translation.
Which is basically translating a new language back into the original text to double-check its accuracy, right?
Exactly. Because of this tech acceleration, there are now only 544 languages left worldwide without any Scripture access.
And that digital acceleration is translating into literal, real-world humanitarian impact. Believers globally are pooling resources to fund the freedom of 200 Pakistani families from generational bonded labor in brickyards. Over in Gaza, minority Christian groups are providing incredible support amid the conflict, installing solar-powered water purification systems that provide clean water for 3,000 people every single day. So what does this all mean?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, why should you care about this data? Well, whether you hold these beliefs or not, these statistics highlight a global generation actively rejecting digital isolation and materialism.
Yeah.
What we are seeing in the data is a profound search for authentic community and deeper meaning that transcends screens and algorithms.
It is a massive demographic and cultural realignment, which leaves us with one final thought for you to explore on your own. With this movement rapidly shifting away from Western-led institutions and moving toward decentralized, locally owned communities in the global South, How might this massive demographic realignment reshape international political alliances and global aid in the decades to come?